Okay, so you've saved up your money and you've finally picked up your brand new RX350. And now you think, how can I get the most out of this? Well, in today's video, I'm gonna be going over all of the features and settings to get the most out of your brand new Lexus RX. So make sure you stick around to the end because I do have a lot of details here. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus related content. So most of what I'm gonna go over today is gonna be either safety, style, or function related. A lot of that's gonna be from inside here. This is the 2025 RX350H executive package, and you can always tell it's executive because of the Mark Levinson sound system, the ultra suede on the seats, and this is the macadamia interior, which by the way, this white on macadamia is one of my favorite color combos for 2025. Okay, so whenever I set up a brand new Lexus, I always start from the left and go into the middle because most of what we're gonna do is on the main screen. So for today's video, I'm just gonna press start twice, actually just once because it's a hybrid. And the car now is on, essentially. And over to the left of the steering wheel, we have like our seat settings. It says seat settings, but it's like your driver settings. So what you wanna do is make sure you set both your side mirrors by using the buttons on the side door bezel. And then just hold set with one of your fingers and press number 1, number 2, number 3. A little expert tip is sometimes I set number 3 to myself as well, but in a different position. So maybe if number 1 is like a more upright stance for me, I might set number 3 to like a more relaxed, I say stance, but I mean seating, where maybe I'm a little bit more leaned back or something like that. And then of course, adjusting the mirrors as such as well. So that's the first thing I always do. Another thing, make sure you set your mirrors to auto. And the reason for that is it's kind of safety. I guess it is kind of style as well. And that is so that when you lock the car, those mirrors fold in. So in my driveway, if I ever think, oh, did I lock my car? I can just peek out, those mirrors are in. That means I know I locked it. I mean, the Lexus app will tell you if you didn't lock it anyway. So that's where that is. You wanna make sure that's an auto. Also make sure you play around with in reverse. So when you're in reverse and you set those mirror settings, that's also gonna be where they tilt down to when you're in reverse. So that's a function I always like to turn on is when I put it in reverse, I adjust those mirrors to just go down just a tad so I can see the lines and just be like perfect the way that I park. Okay, so to get a better look at the screen, which we're gonna do a lot more, I'm gonna use the gimbal for that. So let's get into some styling features that I wanna talk about. And I'll give you a little hint. You can see it down there and you can see it up there, and that's right, it's the illumination. So what we're gonna do is click on the little car piece right there to the side. Oh, actually, sorry, it's the gear piece for this one. And we're gonna scroll down to Vehicle Customize, and then you can click on Illumination. And to put in perspective, only the higher package has this, but you can have some fun with it. So we see at the top here, we can see theme, we can see all zones, by zone, and then it shows the actual theme off to the right there. So these are the preset themes that you have. So you have, everything from daylight white all the way down, like lightning is another one. Some fun colors, waterfall, heat blue, afterglow, and then there's a custom one. So I clicked on lightning. It takes a few seconds, but it does seem to illuminate everything. So on the dash, the door panels, over by your feet, all that will change. It has like themes to it. It reminds me, I had one of those like ceiling fans that had preset things like this as the LED lights. I always thought that was fun. And then custom. So when you do custom, you can click on the color. And now we have all the colors and you can kind of just like move it around. And it's not instant, but it's pretty close to instant. So it's kind of cool to do this at nighttime, not in a bright showroom like I'm in right now, and being able to pick a color that suits your vibe. Or I saw a commercial of, this really hip artist, and the artist would actually change the color to fit their outfit, which I thought was super cool. So feel free to have fun with that with your friends. Then we could do brightness. So we could do, I would crank it, because even from Lexus, this is like an indirect light. So a little bit different from Mercedes and BMW, where this light is not to shine directly in your eyes. It's supposed to just like sort of be in your peripherals. And we can even change the zones. If you really wanted the back to be cranked and the foot to be cranked, and then just keep the front normal, you can do that as well. So a little bit of customization there. I like the dust and blue look, so we're gonna stay with that for now. Another thing we're gonna do while we're in this screen is door control. So this is a safety feature. So we can change things like auto unlock, 2-button press, smart access doors. I wanna make sure when it says unlock that it's driver door only. And I know that can be a little inconvenient for you, especially if you have a family, but it is a safety thing. Maybe not where you live, but maybe somewhere you travel to. And what that does is the reason we want it driver door only is because most of the time we're just gonna walk up to that door handle with our key in our pocket, hit the handle, and it'll unlock the doors. There is crime around these countries, and you don't wanna unlock all the doors because what if someone comes running up and now they can get in the car with you? It's way safer to have it where it just opens your car, and if you have family with you, you get in and you press unlock and now they can get in. I'm just telling you from feedback I've had from people to keep that on. Now in this same screen, we can change things like the buzzer volume for the power back door, the opening position. So you can go and program the back door height by just opening it up and then holding the button when it gets to a certain height, or we can use these numbers here. And the manual mode is the mode I just mentioned, but we could choose 4, we could choose 5. We can do all these different modes and set the height. So if you're a little bit shorter and you want it to be easier to reach, you could always set it to like a 3 or a 4. And all of that is totally customizable here. Another thing I want to talk about is meters. So the meter on the new RX is a little different because there's just 3 types. So the 3 types you can go through on here, or you can go through on the MSD screen itself, but you could always change how your tach shows. So you could have it like HV meter, which is like what it normally is, or when you're in eco, tachometer, like when you're in sport mode, you can change all that there. And heads-up display you can adjust here too. So heads-up display, you can choose to like move it up and down and left and right. And then you can also change it to like full, which I like. And you could also like tilt it a little bit. So over time, if you think that it's like not perfectly lined up, you can customize all that in that screen there. So that's a little bit of what we're gonna talk about for that. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, the boarding and exit, that's a feature you definitely want on. It's essentially the easy out exit. So when you shut off the car and the seat and the steering wheel move away from each other, that's all customizable. Here, I would just leave that. The custom drive mode, I would probably leave that as well. The steering switch, so this is cool. So this is for, on this particular model, it has the smart touch steering wheel. So I know some people love it, some people don't. I really like it. I just gotta take the time to get it all set up. And what it is when you're hovering over those buttons, it'll show you on the screen what the button is that you're hovering over. You can see that it's not actually on the steering wheel, and that's so that we can have 8 buttons instead of 4. And you can change what those 8 buttons are by changing the layout here. So you could do custom, we can decide like which buttons to put there. So we could put like, brightness or display switching, or even, you could even put sport mode on there. I like to kind of just leave it the way it comes. I think Lexus did a good job of making it the display control, but I did want to point out that you can change that. And really important for right now is winter gloves mode. So if you find that the steering wheel controls aren't as like sensitive to your touch, winter glove mode makes them super sensitive. It's just easier. So some people even just leave that on all the time. And I'll just show you guys one more time, right here on both the left and right side. Now, while I'm here, I'm gonna talk to you about the screen itself. So this is the new feature for the RX for 2025, and that is that we have the updated little dashboard here. So this is like what we saw in the TX. Instead of being able to like customize the whole thing, you just sort of like go between 3 preset. They all sort of have a different layout and some different features. Some of them say the same thing, but it is really sharp and you can move that all around with this screen right here. And that's also on the heads-up display, by the way. Now that we have heads-up display on full, you can see anything, almost anything you see down here up there in terms of like information and stuff like that. Okay, so back to the screen, let's talk about the safety features. So in here, there's the little 6 dots. We're just gonna press that. You'll see like the quick screen. So this is like, if you really want to put it in sport mode, you could put it in eco mode, turn on and off some parking features here. Over to the right is your comfort and convenience. So max heat, max cool, those are great shortcuts. If we move over, we get into the different layers of this menu. So now we can put it back to normal drive mode, for instance. What I want to get out of the screen is making sure everything is turned on. I'm a big fan of the new Lexus Safety Sense, and I think everybody should just have it on for now, try it, and then maybe shut things off after you get used to it, especially the proactive driving assist. Now this is going to be the one that feels the weirdest to you if you're coming from an older car, because this is that bubble around the car that will slow down if, you know, the car in front of you slows down. If someone opens their door, the car can dodge it. I've become so reliant on it sometimes that like when I see the car in front of me slowing down, I'll let the car slow down. Like it's like I'll let my car slow down instead of me pressing the brake. I know it's a bad habit, but it is just a cool feature. So make sure you turn all that on. I have a lot of chats about like the road sign assist and how cool that is. Again, I would just leave all that on for right now. Speaking of some technology here, we have the digital mirror. So you can see me there. Or we can just turn it on and now we have the camera on and behind us is a ceiling, so you can't see it. But what I wanted to show you here is with the digital mirror, when you go to set up your home link, so that's your garage door opener, with this system, it walks you through it. So you can actually just like go through all the steps to program that, and it's not that hard. Where if you have the normal mirror that looks like this, it won't have that on there. It'll just be a mirror. So that is one thing to point out. Okay, now some secret little features. If I press vehicle on the left here, you can see some info, you can see some driving assist and stuff, but let's go to rear seats. And now we can actually click on the seat. So let's see if I wanted to like click on the left one, or we could hit all. And when you press this button, the seat behind us will actually fold down. Pretty cool, eh? And if you wanted to raise it, you can just hit raise it and it'll do that automatically for you. So it's not really a setting, it's more of just like an advanced feature, but it is pretty cool. Okay, so by this point in the video, you might be sick of hearing that little beep sound every time I press something. And there is a way to turn it off. So if you wanted to, what you do is just hit general, go over to accessibility, and now we can just turn screen beep on and off. So now it's off. When I touch things, it won't do anything. I'm gonna leave it on for the showroom here because everybody does like it, but that is something you can turn on and off. Also in here, we have some more advanced features. I mean, the vehicle customize was where we started, but everything from display and the brightness and the contrast to a Wi-Fi hotspot, which is a little bit more of an advanced feature. Depending on your subscription, you can turn that on. Notifications like for software updates, all of that is kind of through here. Voice and search. You can change your wake word and your voice prompt for stuff like that. You can change your dealer info, your name of your car, check for software updates, and of course apps. And probably by now, by the time you get your car home for the first time, you probably have your phone connected, but just in case, you're just gonna go settings, Bluetooth and devices. And if maybe CarPlay is not working and you wanted CarPlay, just make sure you have CarPlay clicked off in this menu. Because sometimes you might just be paired through Bluetooth when really you wanna pair it through CarPlay. Another thing, at the bottom, this saved me today. You'll see the little climate switch. That is super handy because when you click it, you can see things like de-icer, S-flow, and S-flow is great for like making sure all the airflow just goes to like where people are sitting. And de-icer is exactly what it sounds like. A cold day like today, that's a super great feature to have as well. And don't forget that you have your other defroster right here too. Climate control is something that I go crazy about because anytime I get in my brother's car, he has auto climate control and he always just has it cranked. And then it gets too hot and he shuts it off, and then it gets too cold and he turns it back on. I'm a fan of just setting it to the right temperature. So make sure you hit auto. I put it to like 21, 21.5. It'll get the car to that temperature as quickly as possible. So you don't have to like overcompensate or anything like that. And then don't forget, these are buttons over here too. So we can hit the recirc if we wanted to manually override that. We could hit AC if we wanted to manually override that. And of course, you'll see the right is on high. You can hit sync and it'll sync to that left one. And then this, people forget is a button, and I always forget it is too, is you could hit rear. And then if you wanted to, you could adjust the climate. Like if we didn't have it on sync, you could adjust the climate in the rear as well, which has to be initiated from the back. But that is something you can do. Okay, so the final thing is the child lock. So you do still have the classic child lock right here. So when it's down, it means that your child cannot get out of that back seat without someone opening it from the outside. So you do have to do it from the outside if that's on. I had a couple used cars get traded in, that feature was on, and someone couldn't get out of the back seat. But it is really handy, especially for these new doors. So there you have it, just a few settings and features to check out when you bring home your new Lexus RX the first day you get it. I know there's so many more things I could go over, and I already talked about more than I planned to because there is so many features and advanced features in these cars. And that's why I always recommend to salespeople is tell your guests that they're not gonna learn everything on the first delivery day, but to come back for a second delivery, for a third delivery, go over some of the more advanced stuff because there really is so many buttons and features now and ways you can like adjust the car and customize it that most people don't get a chance to actually do. So that was my take on it. I hope you liked this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do this on some other models, and I'll see you in the next video.